Hello and welcome to a playthrough video of Escape Earth, a two-player co-op game where players have to leave the dying Earth to find a new home for mankind. They have to travel to the end of the galaxy to reach the safety of this ocean planet. As you can imagine, this quest isn't that easy and the galaxy a dangerous place. Players have to reach the ocean planet before this deck is empty, because if there are no more cards in this population deck, mankind has died. In the population deck, there are also some threatening events in it, and if there are 3 different types of events active at one time, chaos reigns our world, which causes the loss of the game too. And finally, if the aliens reach Earth before both players can reach the ocean planet with their spaceships, they will also lose the game. So what do we see on the table now? First of all, we have here the galaxy with its planets and lots of empty space. Then we have the structures the players will have to build on the galaxy cards. Structures are needed for discovering the galaxy so it can be traveled, and also for producing these activity cubes. Those activity cubes are used for upgrading the structures so they become more powerful. Or players will need them for fighting the events or for fighting the aliens. Here's the time deck, which is showing the players if anything is happening during their turn. It is triggering the alien movement and the upcoming events. Here we see the activity cards. Both players have a different set of them, and they are the core mechanism of the game. With these activity cards, players can build structures, produce cubes, or travel through the galaxy. For traveling, you use the spaceship symbol in the middle with a value of 2 or 3 parsecs. It's important to know that you always have to travel the whole given distance. You can see the needed parsecs here. So for example, if you want to travel with your spaceship here, you need 1, 2, 3 parsecs, which means you need one of those cards for traveling. Then you can use the cards for building structures. This is the construction card. Depending where this construction card is placed, you have up to 5 construction points. You can see here the construction points a structure needs for being placed on a galaxy card. Finally, you can use the card for producing activity cubes. You see here which cubes you are allowed to produce. You can produce 1 cube or, if the structure is upgraded, 2 cubes. Of course, you are not allowed to use an activity card at any time. You can use an activity card only if it's in the right slot. We have here the slots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see here if you're allowed to use a card. For example, if you want to use this card, this is now in slot 2, but you are only allowed to use it if it's in slot 3, 4, 5, so you are not allowed to use it now. Whereas if you take this card here, you can use it because it's in the right slot. It says that you can use it in the slots 3, 4 and 5. If you want to use a card, you take the card, move it to the first slot, and all other cards move upwards. Now you do your travel or generate cubes. Let's start playing then. First of all, we have our galaxy with these 2 planets, and the second planet is special because it has the symbol for the blue resource cubes on it. Therefore, we immediately place a cube on it so we can use it if needed. The turn starts by drawing a time card. This time card says nothing happens, therefore the green player can start his turn. He has now up to 2 actions he can do. He can, for example, upgrade a card by switching 2 neighboring cards. He can move his spaceship, he can build the structures, he can put cubes on the structures, he can use the cubes for upgrading a structure, or he can use the cubes for fighting the aliens or the active events. But now let's start with the green player. He has two actions, and first of all he can only travel here in the discovered part of the galaxy. If we want to travel here, we have to discover these cards first, which means to turn them face up to see what's coming up next. And to discover cards, we will need an outpost. The green player can travel here and then build the outpost. He needs 1, 2, 3 parsecs. Let's see, we will use this card. It's in the right slot, 3 parsecs. So we use this card and move 1, 2, 3 parsecs. This was the first action, and the second action is to build the outpost. For building the outpost, he needs 3 construction points. His construction card is in the right slot and gives him the needed 3 points. So he can use his card, move all others here and build the outpost there. And the outpost card says that from this outpost 2 galaxy cards are discovered. Here we have another planet with a food symbol, so we can place immediately the food cube on it. Now it's a turn for the blue player. For upgrading the outpost, we will need a science cube. For producing this cube, we will need a space lab. Or maybe, because his red card is in a good slot, it would be a good idea to build a starbase. He will travel here, for example, which means 2 parsecs. One, 2. He can use those 2 cards. He will use this card because he will need the construction card later here. He takes the card, moves it to the first slot, and moves 1, 2. This was the first action, and the second action now is building something. This or this, and I guess he will build here the starbase. A starbase costs 4. This card is in the 4th slot, so it gives us 4 construction points, and he moves it here. This was the blue player's turn. Oh, I have forgotten to draw the card, so this is the card for the blue player, and now it's the green player again. He draws a new time card, and it says the aliens move. So now the aliens move. 1, 2. And it's the green player now. So the green player can, for example, travel here. But first he will use this blue resource cube for upgrading the starbase. Which means that the starbase will produce now 2 military cubes instead of 1. So this was the first action, and now for the second action he will travel here. So he will use one of those travel cards. He will use this one, maybe, and travel here. One, 2. Now it's the blue player again. He draws a card. It's an alien movement again. 1, 2. And now he is in the right spot with the right card for producing military cubes. So his first action is producing 2 red cubes here. And then maybe he will travel here. So he can use, for example, this card. And he will travel here. Now it's the green player, and he draws an event. I have to turn the first card, and this card is riots. Normally, we will have to move all construction cards here to the first slot, but we already have military cubes, which we can use immediately without the cost of an action. Because we need only 1 cube, this card goes back into the deck. The deck is shuffled. and reduced by one card that is out of game. It's still the green player's turn. He will do an upgrade. This was the first action, and as a second action he will build an outpost with this card. This card goes to the first slot, and here we go with another outpost. So it was an event, which means that the time deck is reshuffled. And now it's the blue player's turn. The blue player draws a card, and the aliens move again. The blue player is now on an empty card. He has here a construction card, and maybe we will need an upgrade, so we will need a space lab first. So he's using the card, building a space lab here. And now, this is the question. Should he use this card for building one cube? Or should he use this cube for upgrading? He will use this cube as a second action and upgrade the space lab here. Now we have forwarded the game a little bit and a few things have happened. For example, we have those hunger crises here. We have built a hydroponic farm for producing food, but we were a little bit too late because we have drawn a second hunger crisis and now we need 2 food cubes to get rid of the first card and another cube for the second card. So this cube is more or less useless for the moment. We also were hit by a space anomaly, which means that all those fields are blocked now for us. To move on, we must fight the anomaly first. That's why the blue player has built a space lab here to produce a science cube in his next turn. And the aliens have moved. They are nearly entering Earth now. That's why the green player is on the star base and wants to produce military cubes for pushing back the aliens. It's the blue player's turn now. Let's see what will happen. Time is passing, nothing happens. This is good for us, because if this card would have been an alien movement, we would have lost the game. And also, if this card would have activated a third type of event, we would have lost. But luckily, nothing happens. And now it's the blue player's first action. The blue player will produce the science cube. And he will use the science cube for getting rid of the space anomaly. Now the space anomaly is removed and we can enter these galaxy fields again. Now it's the green player's turn. Oh no! It's the aliens! This means that the aliens enter Earth and we have lost the game. This was the 2-player co-op game Escape Earth. Thanks for watching and hopefully you have enjoyed what you have seen.